Hello, and welcome to our flip video lesson, Something to Write About, lesson 4.04. So our lesson 4.04 details are your Human Odyssey reading pages 107 to 109, your student guide workbook pages 98 to 100, your OMS assessment 4.04, and then about the topic, the writing system in ancient Egypt. So what are we learning about today? Our Unit 4 objectives. We're going to describe the use of hieroglyphics and the way it was used in the way in which the modern world rediscovered them, identify the system of writing of ancient Egypt, explain how archaeologists and historians have learned about the daily lives of the ancient Egyptians, and then list examples of everyday life in ancient Egypt. And you can see there's lots of learning objectives for Unit 4. Introduction. Lesson 4.04, Something to Write About. Like the Sumerians, the ancient Egyptians developed a writing system. For more than 3,000 years, they carved hieroglyphics on temple walls, tombs, and monuments. But the Egyptians didn't write only on stone and clay. They invented a lightweight writing material, papyrus. Egyptian scribes could roll the papyrus into cylinders, and soon they had libraries full of their writings. Over time, however, people forgot how to decipher the mysterious picture symbols. It wasn't until centuries later that a stone unlocked the secrets of the ancient Egyptian writing system. Remember, the Sumerians were the first to develop writing. They created a system called cuneiform. The Egyptians created a system of writing called hieroglyphics, a word from Greek that means sacred engravings. Like the ancient Mesopotamians, Egyptians invented a kind of pictograph writing. Instead of an alphabet, different symbols of pictures were used. The Egyptian writing system is called hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics were used to record information about religion and government. It could be written right to left, left to right, or up and down. Talk about confusing, right? The Rosetta Stone. For a long time, explorers were stumped and confused in trying to understand all the records left behind by ancient Egyptians. Nobody knew how to read hieroglyphics. In 1799, a French scholar found a special stone in the city of Rosetta. The stone had the same message written in both hieroglyphics and in Greek. This was important because it helped to translate what the hieroglyphics said and could be used to help translate other hieroglyphics as well. So just a quick side note, when it says that it was written in both hieroglyphics and Greek, it was the same writing. So they knew how to read the Greek, so they were able to read the Greek and then decipher what the hieroglyphics meant. Much as if you were to see something written in English and then see it written in another language, you would be able to decipher what that meant. So your student guide questions, turn to page 98 in your student guide. And like I said in the previous flip video, this student guide is a little bit wonky to say the least for this unit. So this page 98 is actually with lesson 4.01. So just turn to page 98 and you'll see it there. There's not much room for your questions, so if you need an additional piece of paper, you can staple it to your notebook, or you can write it in a separate notebook. So student guide page 98, question number 1. How did the Egyptians use hieroglyphics? The Egyptians carved hieroglyphics mostly on temple walls, tombs, and monuments. Egyptian scribes used hieroglyphics to record the exploits of the pharaohs and to keep all kinds of official records for the pharaoh, from reports about harvest to construction plans for temples. They filled the papyrus scrolls with information about history, astronomy, and other topics. Question number 2. After the Egyptian civilization came to an end, people eventually forgot how to read hieroglyphics. What object did French soldiers discover in 1799 that helped scholars learn how to read hieroglyphics? That was the Rosetta Stone. How many years passed between the time the object was created? Excuse me, I'm sorry. How many years passed between the time the object was created and the time the French soldiers discovered it? So it was 1,995 years. So the Rosetta Stone was carved in 196 BC, and then it was discovered in AD. How did the object help the scholars decipher hieroglyphics? The stone had 3 sections of writing, one which was Greek, which people could read. Scholars realized that the other sections probably said the same thing as the Greek section. Over a period of 20 years, scholars worked to match the Greek with the hieroglyphics. They could then begin to read other ancient Egyptian documents. If archaeologists had never discovered the Rosetta Stone, our knowledge of ancient Egypt would be very different today. We would know far less about Egyptian ideas and life in Egypt. So important vocabulary words to understand: hieroglyphics, the formal writing system used in ancient Egypt. Papyrus is a tall aquatic plant, so the plant itself is named papyrus, and then it's also a material on which to write, prepared from thin strips of pith of this plant laid together, soaked, pressed, and dried. It was used by ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. So when we mention papyrus, it's the tall plant, but it's also the paper, if you will, that was also written on. Exploits are a striking or notable deed, a feat, a spirited or heroic act. And then scholar is a learned person, especially one who has a profound knowledge of a particular subject. And here we come to our quote section. Language is an inventory of human experience, and that was said by L.W. Lockhart. Please be sure you have your reading pages complete, pages 107 to 109. As remember, there's always additional details and information in your book. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, stay positive, stay fighting, stay brave, stay ambitious, stay focused, and stay strong. Have a great day.